Leo Mayo, you out here?
Spectators gaze overhead at a bizarre white light piercing the sky. Adults and children alike gather in the street with their cell phones out. None of them can figure out what is going on, much less put the situation into words. The whole ordeal almost looks like a helicopter searchlight, except that it makes no noise and does not move at all. A NASA experiment or even a portal to an alternate dimension are two more possibilities, however unlikely they may be. Whatever this is, it happened somewhere over California in October of 2018 and has never been properly explained. Dogman sightings are being caught on tape more often than ever. Here are two separate dogman encounters taken by different people years apart that are remarkably similar. The first video was taken in 2015 after a neighbor noticed all the fruit had been picked from their apple and pear trees. It's late at night when this large creature with a broad face and beady white eyes comes up to the window for a closer look. It looks like the window is probably 7 or 8 feet from the ground. Judging from the lamppost across the way, this creature looks tall enough to reach up and pick fruit from a tree. Apparently all of the food outside has been eaten, and now they're thinking about coming in. I'm surprised at the lack of details showing because it's standing in the light, so I'm not sure if this is fake. It looks like it wants to climb in but thinks better of it and eventually walks away. Real or fake, that video looks similar to a different dogman encounter years later. In this sighting, a mysterious creature watches from a window late at night, same as before. It has beady white eyes and on its head are 2 pointy ears, the signature trademark of a dogman sighting. This creature looks smaller than the other one, but its behavior is the same. It stares inside for a long time and then slinks away, and based on the sound it makes, whatever this creature is, it's far from human. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Eric relies on Randonautica to show them the scariest place they've ever seen, and it doesn't let them down. They soon find themselves at the end of a long dirt road with multiple signs, and one of them is a warning. Google wasn't able to translate the wording perfectly, but apparently this sign says that the property is owned by a dangerous witch who has eyes on them at all times. If someone could tell me the full message, I would really appreciate it. They find 2 fences lined with creepy dolls. Some of the dolls are burned and have parts missing, as if they were used for black magic rituals before being placed on display as a warning for all to see. It must have taken a lot of time and dedication to collect so many dolls, and I wouldn't be surprised if the children who own them are being kept somewhere nearby. At the end of the road, they find 3 homemade mannequins wearing old clothes that could be scarecrows for a small garden, or more ritual props.
Do you guys see that?
Something looks weird about the one on the left. When they get closer, since I don't see any crops, I don't think it's a garden. The way this is all set up looks more like a memorial, if anything. I wouldn't be surprised if some passed on individuals were buried below the earth here, and I don't think I want to find out. A little farther up the trail, they find this old shack that looks more like a place to hold somebody, or something creepy like that rather than a place to live. They are about to explore the shed when they feel distant eyes upon them and go running. I have to say, that seems like the right choice. This entry involves a series of videos revealing a web of industrial-looking tunnels that weave beneath the campus of Northern Arizona University. The uploader states that in October of 2018, he only reached the bottom of the stairs but recently decided to venture further. Enclosed Granddad writes, NAU was almost established as an insane asylum back in the mid-1890s, and rumor has it that these tunnels would have been part of that. He shares a link, which notes that the building was first built as a reform school for Arizona's so-called vicious youth. It's unclear why it remained empty for years upon completion. That's when, as Granddad mentioned, an insane asylum was proposed by the territorial legislature. For some reason, that wasn't followed through either. What isn't made clear is this short historical literature is when the tunnels were built and for what purpose. The recorder guides us through the dark tunnels, writing, I came across pathways that I could have potentially crawled, shimmied through, but chose not to because 1. They seemed a bit dangerously cramped at points, and 2. I didn't want to spend too much time down there. I don't know how much farther these tunnels go until we find out what those tunnels were used for. The mystery may just be enough to haunt you. This abandoned house was a favorite haunt for squatters, and now it will soon be the favorite haunt of urban explorers. Published to YouTube by Lomar Mendez in March 2021, Omar and Chelsea dig right into this seriously creepy house, littered with random garbage left behind, graffiti on the walls, and antique gems that look like they've been around for at least a century. Wandering through the house, Omar opens a door, and as he does, listen closely. You can hear a voice whisper, "Look."
I don't know, I haven't really been here in about a year and a half. The very first time we came here, we actually found homeless people stuff upstairs.
A detour into the bathroom brings viewers one of the grossest things seen in this top 10, a pile of discarded hair in the sink. They enter a bedroom, which might explain all the hair, as the room once housed people. Their belongings are still scattered across the floor. Further along, they find scraps of paper with strange noises written on them. They say disintegrates with light and zap the ground. As they're heading upstairs, something falls in the room behind them, pushing them to pick up the pace. But now they have one problem. There's no way out. They wait around upstairs, but no one approaches, and nothing more is heard. Using an electromagnetic field detector, they sense energy in the home. Though the electricity isn't on, it's a steady current.
Look at that. Is there a spirit in here? Was this your house? Yo, it's steady. Like, for real.
The necrophonic device they use in the basement seems to confirm that energy. When they ask who's in the house with them, a voice says hi, and later, "Sir, hi."
Who's in here with us?
I'm hiding.
Are you hiding?
They continue to communicate with the spirits, and an orb appears in the top right corner of the door. Did a spirit just enter?
Was this your home?
They ask the spirits to make a noise for them. It almost sounds like it says ghost.
Can you make a noise for us?
They both start to feel ill and uneasy. As they're getting ready to leave, Omar says he felt like the entire house shook.
I almost thought it almost felt like the house shook. Like the entire house, right there, just shook.
That's like demonic.
Not long after, while they're speaking to each other, an orb appears to drift from Chelsea's head.
I don't know, but it's like really eerie quiet now, and like...
Yeah, it's really quiet.
Have the spirits attached to their new hosts? If that's the case, that would truly mama my Mia. A YouTuber named Phoebe Mayhew made a scary face swap video from 2016 that's still an unsolved mystery to this day, and I'm hoping this is the year we can find an answer. So Phoebe makes a joke about having no friends to face swap with, when this invisible presence takes her up on her generous offer to change faces.
Hello? Anyone want it?
The eerie apparition is apparently above her, and she switches places with something peering in from the highest point of the door. So the only thing in the corner that possibly looks like a face would be the overhead lighting. But when Phoebe tries to recreate the situation, nothing happens.
But it's definitely not the light it was doing it to. Because the light's over there and it's not doing it now.
Like I said, I don't see anything else in that doorway that could have set off the face swap. Do you? It makes me wonder if something tall and creepy was watching her and then vanished. YouTuber Dennis of Dark Life is at it again with this video of paranormal activity in a haunted home, as he's describing what he witnessed in the home when the cameras were off. Something happens while they're on.
Вот, здесь будто бы шевелилась мебель. Ну, перед...
Later, as he's speaking with the spirits, things light up.
Ай-яй-яй!
For some reason, Dennis sticks around, only to witness this. Here it is from another angle. Later, he sees something in the corner.
Не знаю, камера это увидела. Вот сейчас убираю свет. Когда убирал свет, здесь что-то светилось в том углу.
Here it is again. Is this figure what has been causing all this mayhem? I think it might be. There are demons here, and Dennis shouldn't stay around too long, lest they get attached. This haunting video of a woman in a cemetery is creepy beyond all belief. She thinks she's alone and the cemetery looks as empty as can be, but somewhere... a child is heard screaming. She never shows what's going on in front of her, but that's because the screams are clearly coming from behind. She aims the camera down that way and only finds row after row of markers. No one is there, and yet the scary voices prevail. This one has to be paranormal in my opinion. Number 15, Stalkers. Welcome to the inner workings of a broken down mental hospital, recorded live to Facebook by Hammy TV. This creepy video takes you on a tour through the extreme ward of Medfield State Hospital, developed over the turn of the 20th century. The 58-building complex held a max of 2,200 patients and was a filming location for such films as Shutter Island and The Box. According to Wikipedia, trespassing between dark and sunrise is strictly forbidden, so these boys aren't exactly following the law. One especially creepy fact about this asylum is that it has 841 grave sites, all of which are numbered instead of named. In fact, Boy Scouts in the area made it their Eagle Scout service project to find the correct names of all buried and their dates of passings. If that wasn't creepy enough, watch what happens during this tour of evil. The crew is heading to the 3rd floor, where there were allegedly a few passings. As they're trying to decide how to get up the very broken stairs, the camera pans the upper floor. Keep your eye on the hallway. A shadow person very clearly crosses the threshold, a shadow that apparently the crew didn't see in reality, as they have no reaction to it whatsoever. I'm sure when they watched this video in playback they did. I'm not sure if anyone noticed until it was pointed out in the Facebook comments, but now that it's been spotted, I think this paranormal sighting is terrifying. The University of Texas once lost 100 human brains, the brains which were acquired in the 80s for scientific research. sat in jars of formaldehyde in the basement for over 30 years. Decades later, the school decides to move them to a different part of campus, only to find most of them were missing. What's even more bizarre is that all of these brains were donated from an old Texas asylum. Among them was the brain of Charles Whitman, who in 1966 ended the lives of a dozen university students after taking aim from a tower. No one knows what happened to them for sure, but according to rumors, students were taking them every year to use as props for Halloween parties. The main point is that the minds of over 100 inmates have gone missing, and no one knows what is currently being done with them. While out on his porch, this young man spots two green eyes peering back at him from the darkness. Published in June of 2020, Jimmy Reynolds lives near the edge of the woods, so it would be safe to assume that any number of woodland creatures are nearby. But what kind of creature is this? He approaches the eyes in the darkness, speaking out to it.
What the hell? See, there it is. Hey. Oh, what the f***? You'll see that.
But as he gets closer, it apparently runs off. Jimmy thinks it could be a cat or a dog, but people in the comments are of the opinion that it's something much larger. Some say it's a skinwalker or a crawler. Others say it could be a forest ghoul. Cat Anonymous writes, "It's probably stalking your house for food. Not sure if it eats humans. In any case, this dude better lock his doors." This video comes from a supposedly haunted home in Chiefland, Florida. Diane Fraser and her paranormal investigation group attempt to summon the ghost of a child named David by inviting him to play with a toy top. Sure enough, the small piece of plastic soon begins to move on its own.
Can you make sure that's zoomed in correctly?
It is.
Yeah.
I want you to see this. You missed it.
Look at that. Good job.
Can you get that, Gabby?
I am getting, yes.
Yes, there he goes.
Whoa.
Eventually, Diane feels pains in her stomach and they are able to determine that David was kicked by a horse, possibly centuries ago. I have never seen this ghost equipment or software before, so I'm not sure what the radar screen is for. If this is just a regular tablet with an app, then there really should be no possible way for the top to spin by itself. Isn't nature beautiful? This video shows us it's actually terrifying. Redditor Sarah in Alaska shared this clip of the stunning Alaskan wilderness, but listen closely to the audio. She's wondering if viewers hear a voice, and if so, if you can tell what it's saying. Redditor Endangered Mind 2 suggests that the voice says, "Race back down," and Sarah agrees. As they just reach the summit, after listening repeatedly, I agree that this is what it sounds like, but the voice is not theirs, so whose is it? I don't have any answers, but I think I'd keep off this trail for a while, or never hike it again. Don't believe in unknown beings? What if one strolled right up to tap on your window? This unknown being footage, posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by 77Curen, will inspire you to take a trip over to Area 51. The footage shows an unknown being approach the window of a home. Its features are quite clear, with black gashes for eyes and an elongated cranium. You know, the kind of features you might expect from an unknown being. The unknown being stands there, peering into the home, observing. It even looks as though it's trying to find a way to open the window. If that is indeed what it's doing, it doesn't succeed, instead slinking off, perhaps to find the homeowner to take him. What do you think of this unknown being footage, real or fake? Either way, I'll be locking my windows tonight. Two friends are creeping around a forest in Granada, Spain when they stumble upon something they were never meant to see. The humanoid is likely hunched over its prey as the two approach. They accidentally make a noise and the humanoid's keen ears detect them instantly. It looks up from his meal, ready to attack. You can see that this creature is thin and bony. It looks skinny and sunken in fast with a high metabolism. Its reaction time seems way too quick for any ordinary person. Mikael Kroosbergen is deep in a cave in the tropical country of Laos when he catches this incredibly large arachnid lurking on the stony gray wall. Mikael later describes this spider as being the size of a full-grown pizza. Its eyes are large enough to reflect light back into the camera like a cat, which is something I've never seen a bug's eyes do. Eventually, the creature scurries into the darkness with the speed of a professional sprinter, never to be seen by human eyes again. According to the description, they are sure that this is a giant huntsman spider, which apparently will bite on occasion. Tell me if you agree with their assessment and how you were able to tell for sure. Mythical creatures are said to rule these forests. Did this cameraman catch one of them, or did he almost get caught? Published by SEOOOSST in June of 2021, the footage shows the cameraman making his way through some brambles and overgrowth in the woods. As the camera pulls up alongside a large pile of them, a mysterious dogman-like face appears over top of the pile. The hairy brown face doesn't look human, nor does it look quite animal. Its eyes glow as it moves jarringly out of view when the camera lands on it, making a gruff growling noise. Some in the comments are calling this mysterious beast a cryptid. What do you think it is? I just know I'll be staying out of that forest. While investigating the Englefield Green Social Hall, YouTube team Southern Ghost Society captures some clear poltergeist activity. Listen closely for the EVP. I'm not sure what that sound was, but another camera manages to capture it from a different angle.
What's that? Boy. What? This table just went. Holy no.
It sounds to me like a door creaks and then something bangs loudly nearby. We can't see anything in the darkness, so I'd be curious to find out if anything was moved once the lights were turned back on. Regardless, this does seem to me to be paranormal. YouTube team Rota X Investigaso Paranormal explores this haunting place where something horrible happens. As they walk in, they sense there's someone there. As he introduces himself, it sounds like someone runs off into the darkness.
Meu nome é Marco.
Aqui, Marco, na frente, aqui.
They get back to their investigation, addressing the spirits.
Vamos fazer uma pergunta aqui. Fala aí.
Boa noite. A presença que está aqui é alguém que partiu, que estava aqui na tragédia?
In one dark and scary room, their device goes off.
Maior.
Por isso a equipe Rota X pede licença para estar entrando aqui.
And a second time.
Tá, obrigado pela sua resposta, tá bom?
And then a third time.
Tá, alguém faleceu aqui, né? E você poderia me dizer...
While the readings are interesting, I'm more intrigued by the person they sensed in the building who seemed to escape. This scary paranormal investigation comes from an unknown uploader somewhere in Russia or Ukraine. Two brave ghost hunters pull up to a lone house rotting in the woods. A haunted place known for strange poltergeist activity. The inside looks fairly normal, but being here gives them an unshakable feeling of being watched. They're exploring room to room and soon don't see much activity until they get towards the back of the house. That's when things get weird. Okay, that's a lot of scary stuff to happen at once. I counted 3 creepy things, so let's go through them all. We all saw the ghost throwing objects to the ground, so that's 1. You probably didn't see the shadow figure caught on camera seconds before it happened. That's 2. A rising cry after the ghost throws an object to the ground is the 3rd creepy thing. They are brave ghost hunters, so it's going to take more than that to make them scared enough to run back into the woods. More, but not much more. A ghost slams the door shut on a room that I guess they are forbidden to enter. Who knows what scary stuff went on back there. Strange secrets that even someone's ghost doesn't want you to know. And maybe it's just me, but right as the door slams shut, I think I see a shadow figure materialize at 1 minute and 55 seconds. Tell me if you see what I mean. Whatever they saw or felt or heard was scary enough to make them jump back in their car and never return. YouTubers, the proper people, published this exploration of an abandoned psychiatric hospital in April of this year, 2018. The psych hospital was built in the 1800s for poor folks who couldn't afford healthcare and has been abandoned for more than 2 decades. The place certainly looks old. Whole pieces of wallpaper are chipping from the walls. Below the hospital are tunnels connecting to the surrounding buildings. The crew didn't enter the tunnels because unlike the psychiatric hospital, those buildings are still in use, but they did come upon a fallout shelter. Many of the rooms they come across are empty, some are locked, making the crew and their viewers curious about what's inside. But perhaps the most curious rooms are those with piles of the psych's hospital supplies and equipment. Chairs, tables, walkers, buckets, mattresses all thrown together in one place. They even encounter an old green tub with an adjacent seat used to lift disabled patients in for bathing. And further on, they arrive at half of an elevator car. For some reason, there's something so unsettling about an open elevator shaft and an elevator not where it's supposed to be, Michael says. It gives you a bad feeling. Well, Michael, this whole place gives us a bad feeling, so I'm going to stay as far away from that hospital as possible. While visiting Old Smoky Mountain Cemetery, YouTube crew the G-Team Paranormal are quickly met with paranormal activity. Straight away, they get a reading on their paranormal device.
Right there. Wow. This is incredible.
And that reading becomes more distinct.
Look.
Yep.
Oh, I see them.
Mm-hmm.
You see them?
I see them. Almost looks like a third person.
The spirits seem to be congregating next to their headstones.
Someone's standing next to the headstone.
Right next to the headstone, yes.
Leaning on it or something.
Although the camera doesn't pick it up clearly, the ladies hear footsteps approaching.
She hears footsteps crunching. I hope it ain't a bear coming. Oh, I did.
Then, while in their vehicle, the car's reverse sensor is triggered, but there's no one behind them.
What?
What the heck?
I don't know. What is going on? It's sensing something behind us.
What the hell?
I don't know.
There's a mysterious whisper in the darkness here, though. And before they know it, they've picked up a hitchhiking spirit.
Made me want to come here. Oh, why did all my just fall? My up here on my visor just kind of flew down. What the hell?
Patty even seems to spot one on the road.
Whoa, I'm not even gonna back up. There was somebody standing back there and a white shirt. I'm not even kidding you. Unless I'm not gonna back up, guys. I can't.
I didn't see anything, but something strange is definitely going on here. Whether a spirit has attached or not is anyone's guess. This video comes from a creepy YouTube channel ominously called I Know Where She Is, whatever that's supposed to mean. Anyway, whoever's filming seems to be at some old abandoned house that's covered in years worth of trash. A loud generator blocks out all sound. They turn around as if startled and shine their flashlight on the doorway, but they don't see anything. Neither did I the first time. Look again though, and you'll see the fleeing shadow of someone retreating from the doorway. Overall, it's hard to tell if this was a phantom figure or just the angle of the flashlight playing tricks across the wall. A YouTuber named Leviathan has an old barn in the woods where scary noises have been coming from late at night. Many sleepless nights later, he works up the courage to take a friend with him to investigate the strange sounds coming from the haunted barn in the woods. When he goes inside, he finds that the barn is not haunted like he thought. It's something way worse than that. Would someone tell me what this is, writes Leviathan. It's an unknown creature sighting to him, but I've seen enough scary videos to immediately guess what it is. The Rake. He lets the scary creature have the barn and doesn't go outside for 2 months until one night he hears it making scary noises in the woods, much closer this time, as in right by his house. Against his better judgment, he takes an old busted flashlight outside for a final creature sighting he'll never forget. Crouched behind a tree making hideous hissing clicking sounds is the Rake, the same creature he caught on camera in the barn. He keeps a respectable distance, but it's not far enough. Who knows how fast this thing can run, especially on all fours. Luckily for him, it hangs back in the forest and lets him run home. Both of these videos were taken in 2020 and seems to be part of a new wave of Rake sightings from all over the world. High quality videos of the Rake, like this one, are cropping up all over YouTube and they are not grainy at all. Hopefully this new rash of creature sightings is a video editing trend and not an indication that mysterious creatures are creeping out of the woods. Creepy, right? Raptor125 puts on a GoPro cam and takes his dirt bike out to make a YouTube video. It isn't long before he sees a familiar gray truck, the same one that chased him away from this area just the other day. He is only riding for about 2 full minutes when he sees the same truck again, much closer this time. Fearing for his life, Raptor125 speeds out of the neighborhood and onto a dirt track, the gray truck on his tail the whole time. Not even sharp turns at high speeds are enough to get the vehicle off him, and Raptor125 has little doubt that this person has the worst intentions possible waiting for him if he slows down. If he falls off his bike at this moment, for example, then there wouldn't be enough time for the driver to swerve out of the way. The chase only ends when a farmer watching the whole thing stops the truck. Otherwise, who knows how far this chase would have gone. This is it, the scariest forest to explore in terms of ghost hunting. The location of this scary forest is far more well known than its actual name. That's because you have to go to the Romanian countryside of Transylvania to get here, the same place where the legend of Dracula began. Okay, so this place is called the Hoia Baciu Forest, and there's a good reason why not too many outsiders know about it. Locals believe that even mentioning its name is enough to curse you with a lifetime of misfortune, which is making me wish someone else narrated this video. Ask around for long enough and you might find somebody willing to tell you about a shepherd who, hundreds of years ago, went into this forest with 200 sheep to let them eat grass and never returned. Peasant villagers soon lost their lives to his vengeful spirit, and the area's haunted reputation quickly spread. As more lives were lost, the number of ghost sightings continued to grow. I'm not going to get into all of the individual haunted forest stories because there are simply too many to recall, but here are 3 scary videos taken in the woods that are worth mentioning because they help back them up. The first video was taken by a YouTuber named Bregis on July of 2014, and it shows in the center of the woods a circular clearing where absolutely no trees will grow. In fact, trees have not grown here for hundreds of years, in a perfectly symmetrical circle, and nobody knows why. Maybe this is where the shepherd and his flock all perished. Whatever happened here, there's something unholy about this area that always makes visitors nervous. And to further prove my point, in the center of this circle are 2 evenly spaced patches of dug up earth that look like they could be unmarked graves. What do you think is buried here? Videos of these woods are scary enough during the day, but exploring the cursed woods at night is even scarier. On July 29th, 2017, a YouTuber named Tanner Roth thinks he's brave enough to withstand a 3 a.m. haunted forest challenge in Transylvania. The trees start to look twisted and creepy, so they know they are close to the forest's haunted heart.
See, it's how knotted it is. These knots don't happen anywhere else outside this forest. I guess it's another way that they were saying that the forest is Dude, it just got super cold over here.
The camera goes out of focus as if a spirit is face to face with Tanner, and a passing chill makes his nose run. In his words,
It kind of feels like we shouldn't be here.
I couldn't have said it better myself, especially based on what he sees shortly thereafter. Tanner Roth senses something near, and so he calls out for Anthony, his camping buddy. He feels especially watched here, and look at what happens at 4 minutes and 28 seconds. No sooner does he say somebody is messing with me when an odd red light shows up. Tanner finds Anthony passed out at the campsite, cozy as can be. Anthony didn't pass the 3 a.m. haunted forest challenge, so it wasn't him. Strange glowing lights are said to be a common occurrence in this forest, and one of the reasons why locals don't dare to go near. On April 14th, 2018, a paranormal investigation team from Italy called Aspit journeys to the center of the forest in search of a scare. This is what they find close to the haunted circle.
Sì, aspetta. Sì. Cazzo che urlare. Sì, nell'orecchio. Non molla. Spero si sente. Devi tieni solo la palletta. Oddio, un urlo! Di nuovo!
It kind of sounds like a frog to me, but maybe not based on what happens next.
K2! Oh cazzo! Ci gira intorno!
As they strain their ears, they hear it again right as the K2 meter goes off, which makes it paranormal in my opinion. Sheep can make really shrill noises, so maybe it's the shepherd's wicked spirit. The pit crew runs some more experiments, such as asking the spirit to make their flashlight blink, which it does easily, and we no longer hear any animal noises at all during this time. The forest is eerily quiet. 5 minutes later, it decides to skip all of their testing and directly reveal itself.
Cosa? Cazzo! Aspetta che tolgo gli infrarossi.
Cioè, togli gli infrarossi, se no non si vede.
Lo vedi? Lo prendi?
Much to their horror and to my fascination, the light they see is remarkably similar to the light that Tanner Roth saw a year prior, except for a noticeable difference in color. They both saw a sphere of light roughly the same size in the same area, and probably therefore the same entity. The fact that 2 different teams from 2 different countries nonetheless would record the same thing is all the proof that I need to conclude that this forest is probably beyond haunted. Since the legends are apparently true, I can only imagine what the the repercussions are on them for witnessing it in person, not to mention what will happen to us for seeing it on video. A YouTuber named Justin Brown has been seeing odd-looking people living in tents near his hometown in Lompoc, California. He is too nervous to investigate the situation in person, so he sends his drone over for a closer look. Imagine Justin's surprise when he discovers an entire colony of strangers living on a riverbed less than a mile from his home. He has no idea who they are, what they want, or why they are so close to a suburban neighborhood, which doesn't seem particularly special in any way. Also, no one can seem to figure out what this mysterious blinking blue light is. Take a look at the way it keeps flashing persistently and tell me what kind of technology you think it could be. Maybe together we can figure out who lives here and their purpose. As it turns out, nostalgia isn't always a good thing. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hey There, You Are Okay, the Redditor explains. So I was going through my old 3DS photos for nostalgia. The reason why I'm posting on this sub is because I'm not for sure if I caught anything in the background. Do you think it's younger me being scared? The video clip shows an empty bedroom. As he starts to scan the room, the video captures a dark room beyond. It's hard to tell if there's a window in that room. However, something appears to move there, or at least a shadow is cast that mimics movements. The camera passes upward to the ceiling, and when it returns to the closet, the shadow and light has changed a bit. But it's the next time the camera pans from one side to the other that the real change occurs. Explain these unknowable shadows. What is going on here? Is there something or someone in that room? No wonder the Redditor was freaked out. Doorbell camera captured an interesting visitor one night at around 10 p.m. TikToker LENTHIN shares this video. It appears that the woman just stands there for a moment, breathing loudly, and then leaves, carrying her bag of mysteries. It doesn't even seem like she rings the doorbell. Would this terrify you? It does certainly terrify me. I wouldn't open the door ever again. When the paranormal comes after you, do you stick around for more? Published by Han Cardisler. That's what this group did. And they weren't disappointed. As the paranormal crew is searching an abandoned school, they find something frightening inside. They're in one room examining things when a sound is heard from the other end of the room. A moment later, a large beam of wood is shoved off a table to the floor. They cross the room, closer to the action. And as they're talking, another large piece of wood comes flying at one of them from the door. Still, they remain in the room, as though nothing happened.
Oy! Sana mı vurdu lan o?
Are these guys crazy? Or are they unfazed because they're so used to this stuff? Whatever the case, they'd best run. The Phantom is getting more aggressive by the minute.
शुरू से लेकर एंड तक देखे शुक्रिया। ये आप देख सकते हैं धमकियों में और अजीब सी हरकतें करती रहती है। ये आप देख सकते हैं।
Ahmed knows of someone in need of his help. She's apparently been taken over by something paranormal, and he hopes to break it by reciting the right words over her bedridden figure. The orb activity picks up whenever he speaks.
ये लगता है हम इसकी कोई कहते हैं ये बच्ची जो मेंटल है और कोई जो कहते हैं कि इसके अंदर हवाई चीज़ें और जिन्नात है।
Her gray hands have marks and worn knuckles. Her fingers are constantly flexing.
हमें महसूस हो रही एक्टिविटी है।
When she reaches for Ahmed at 3 minutes and 54 seconds, her arms are likewise discolored and marred. Something has been hard at work destroying her from the inside out. We don't get to see much of her face, but when we do get a glimpse, it looks scary and possessed. A twisted sneer across cracked gray skin at 9 minutes and 4 seconds. By the end of the session, she says something that makes him stop recording with a small sigh. Tell me what she says here to seemingly break his spirit. The possibility of this being real depends on if you believe in spirits taking someone over. Caught on tape is a scary woman, no doubt about that, but she could also be suffering from some kind of illness that causes delusions and skin conditions. This could also be makeup and some very good acting. The orbs could be from a dusty room, but the way they move over her makes me wonder if this is a real paranormal video caught on tape. A YouTuber named Exploring with Perks is checking out an old abandoned home with one of the creepiest basements he has ever seen. Possible remains rest outside of an old hole in the wall, with the rest of the body possibly on the other side. And later on, he finds the remnants of what I hope is just a stuffed animal. Then he gets out fast. I can't say I blame him. This house of music is turning into a somber melody. YouTuber Max from Paranormal Point pulls an overnighter in the abandoned music house, and it has no more lullabies. Max quickly senses something is there. After a while, whatever is possessing this house is impacting him too.
Мне сейчас стало не по себе, у меня закружилась голова, резко слабость в теле. Я не знаю, что это происходит. Вообще я себя странно чувствую.
And it appears that there's something behind him. An EVP session produces a message from the spirits.
Ты главное не бойся их.
And we discover what this house is.
Этот дом портал для мертвых душ.
That's not all either.
Теперь их много.
According to the spirit, there are a lot of souls here. I think Max better take that as his cue to leave before he becomes one of them. Here's why you should never look down during a hailstorm.
Holy f***! I felt the shockwave from that.
A bolt of lightning cracks across the brick wallway in front of him. I felt the shock waves, he says as he runs inside, but in truth, he's lucky he didn't feel something a lot worse. The moral of this scary video, if there is one, is to never go outside during this kind of weather. No exceptions. Not even the doorstep is safe. Okay, so there's this tech channel from Singapore called Computer Guys, and one of their videos is beyond creepy. Weird things are continuously caught on tape in one of the most unlikely places to ever become haunted, a bare, nondescript server room. No one is seen on 2 different security cams, and yet the door opens by itself. A ghost did it, they later say. I guess they were having technical problems shortly afterwards, because IT workers come into the room to run some programs and check wires. No sooner do they leave does the paranormal activity return. As the minutes pass, the laptop flips back open right before an IT worker walks in to check some things. Everything looks fine, nothing weird, and then things get scary in a paranormal way. A sighting of a ghost on the floor is caught on camera, which is then knocked over. Some paranormal investigators will tell you that electricity attracts the supernatural, so it makes sense that a ghost would haunt a high voltage server room if that were true. With that said, the whispering at the end does seem a little over the top to be real, and makes me wonder if this scary ghost sighting video is legitimate. In March of 2019, the sky opened up over the city of Al Ain in the UAE, scaring everyone within a 10-mile radius, posted by Mr. Potek in November of 2019. This footage was originally posted to Twitter by Ibrahim Al-Jarwan, reported to be an astronomer and meteorologist by the Daily Mail. The footage of the strange whirlpool in the sky was captured while driving. The video went viral, as many were left mystified about what it could be. Are we really looking at a portal to another world? If so, what world are we entering? I just wish we had more footage of this event. It would help us solve this mystery once and for all. A doll with a creepy aura is chilling enough. So what happens when the doll actually moves? The G-Team Paranormal Investigators posted this video to YouTube in March of 2019, writing, "After my recent video with Omar, I decided to take his haunted dolls home with me that night. I did not bring them inside my home. I left them in a shed out back. After watching back the video I did with Omar a few times, I decided to introduce his dolls to mine and turn the camera on." The video reveals an unsettling movement. As Patty, the host, is talking about the dolls, you can see one of the porcelain dolls' heads moves ever so slightly.
Because I don't want to keep her, but I'd like her to go to a good home. I mean, if there's somebody out there that's interested, I don't... Did that thing just move?
As if she's listening. Is she? If she is, does she like what she's hearing? She must not have gone full on Chucky when the camera stopped rolling. So we can assume so. Is there a ghost at this military base? Posted to the paranormal subreddit by Multifrapser. This creepy sound clip was captured in a base for the Finnish Defense Forces. The Redditor explains that the video was cut out of the clip for security reasons, but that it was recorded near a public road at around 10:30 p.m. in January of 2020. Though it's short, he said the sound continued for 45 minutes until 11:15 p.m. The Redditor writes, "During the time I captured this clip, I'd kept watch at one of the checkpoints that led to the military base or garrison." He explains that the noise started to get quieter little by little until it vanished. Another military personnel had heard the same noises the night before around midnight. He also describes the base's surroundings. There is a town about 1.5 kilometers away that turns into a veritable ghost town around this time. There are also a central fire station and rural industries nearby, as well as a railroad track, but only one rail line is scheduled to pass there at a specific time and doesn't make this noise. On the opposite side of the base is a small bay with only motor and sailboats that don't usually operate at this time of day or year. Across from the base is a water tower made of concrete, which is where he thinks the noise may be coming from, though he had never heard this sound before. He describes the surroundings that night as not windy. There are many different theories in the comments as to the source of this noise, with some suggesting it could be the mysterious sky trumpets that have been captured all over the world. Others suggest coronal mass ejections in the ionosphere, which have to do with the aurora borealis. It could also be singing ice, which is a sound effect that happens when frozen soil or rock cracks after water seeps in and freezes. Some also think the rhythmic oscillation sounds mechanical or like breathing, but Redditor Paul JS75 believes that the Redditor might be on the right track, with the water tower theory, writing, Keep in mind, when draining or filling the thing, there also has to be a way for air to get in or out. A lot of air rushing through a passage is going to make noise. What do you think this is? Do you have any other theories? I think no matter what the cause is, this would be terrifying to hear outside at night while being alone. This Witch is Up to No Good, published by Zona Paranormal Veracruz in December of 2021. This scary video starts with a flash. While in this graveyard, the man appears to have happened upon a ritual being performed.
Por Dios santo. No puedo prender la linterna, no puedo prender nada. Arriba, 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 arriba.
A figure is speaking and making this fire come to life.
Arriba, 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 arriba del árbol. Escucha algo, escucha algo.
Later, amongst the mausoleums, the man hears that strange voice again in the darkness.
Acá, 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 acá.
Followed shortly by a high-pitched, sing-song voice.
Ven, ven, ven. No se quiere.
The man then falls forward hard, pushed by an unseen force.
¿Dónde estás?
He sees a ghostly figure from a distance approaching him.
Para que él me conceda los favores. Que me destruya todo.
And then it's too close for comfort. The fire is blazing again, and upon approaching the fading flames, the cameraman sees a witchy woman hunched over departing.
Señora, señora, solo vengo a explorar, no vengo a hacer daño. Allá adentro unas sombras, allá adentro una sombra, allá adentro, allá adentro.
What sort of ritual was this witch performing? This cameraman might find out in his days to come. Do you hear that haunting melody? It may be the vocalizations of an actual ghost. Posted by Charger3933 to the Ghosts subreddit. This clip captures a ghostly song in the abandoned asylum, Eloise Psychiatric Hospital in Michigan, which we've discussed at length in previous top 15s. Charger notes in the comments that he did not hear the singing during the visit, only afterwards when he listened back to the recording. The Redditor was wandering around the abandoned asylum with a friend when he heard disembodied footsteps coming up the stairs. As he tried to capture the footsteps via a Snapchat video, he heard screaming from a distance. He saved the video and later heard the haunting singing as well. Redditor Wubba-Lubba-Dubbity-Doo in the comments writes, obviously we have to take the audio with a grain of salt because it's possible someone was hidden in the building. That being said, I hear the screams and sleep freaky AF. The same Redditor later notes in the thread that the uploader basically caught an EVP. He also remarks that he too hears the footsteps or something moving nearby. The uploader states that he tried to stay as still as possible, and that he would also consider this an EVP, as he did not hear the singing in real time. Redditor quite fast agrees that the singing sounds like a lullaby. The Redditor tried to isolate the woman's voice, and added a clearer clip to the thread. The humming voice sounds even spookier with the audio cleared up, and it's quite fast notes. You can almost hear the words safe and sound. Do you feel safe and sound after watching this video? While exploring an abandoned house, make note of what happens in your periphery. Published in March of 2021, the footage you're about to see was recorded in France around 11 p.m. as a pair of paranormal investigators round the corner of a dark, empty room. They discover that it isn't empty after all. Just beyond a picture that's leaning against the wall, a figure moves quickly out of sight as the light falls upon it. It happens so fast that it's difficult to see what the figure even is, but it appears as though it's crouched slightly as it rises up before pulling out of view. The two-man crew approaches the hallway to investigate, but there's nothing there. Did it somehow soundlessly disappear into one of these rooms? Or as we suspect, did it disappear into thin air? This video could be someone talking gibberish in their sleep, or it could be a possession, as uploader JRon2 seems to think. Listen to this part and tell me if you think she could be speaking an ancient language.
Things Antarctica entrance.
Oh yeah? What does that mean?
One person in the comments section for this video thinks she might be saying something like, on the other side of the gods in Old Latin, whatever that means. If a second person could verify that this was what she said, then maybe we would know if she was possessed or just mumbling. D-Doc Michael is a Korean-based YouTube channel run by duo Tichi and Michael. The pair travels to various alleged haunted locations across South Korea and document their experiences. On March 21st, 2021, Michael ventures alone to what is said to be the grounds of a passed away shaman. The first 2.5 minutes of the exploration are rather quiet, but that changes when he finds what looks like a small office or reception desk. He is checking out some paintings left there, and he is startled when he smells what resembles ash. This could explain the box of matches on the table, but he gets a fright when a knife left on a plate starts moving on its own. This causes him to flee the room briefly, before he returns and tosses the knife outside. Later, after cautiously passing in front of a mirror, he peers into the next room and is startled to see what appears to be candlelight coming from the other side of some faded glass. As he discovers, to his relief, it is just a street light. His live chat starts frantically typing to look at the ceiling. Confused, he looks all over the ceiling but finds nothing. But that's when they tell him to look at it through the mirror. He does so, but again finds nothing. However, the chat seems to have seen something on the ceiling through the mirror when he passed by it earlier. It's hard to tell if there is actually something there, but maybe you can see it for yourself. Deeper into the house, he sees a roll-out poster sticking out around the door. Much to his shock, it appears to be lightly moving up and down, as if trying to roll itself. It gets a good way up before dropping down again, leaving the startled man to slowly creep around. On the parchment is what appears to be a caricature of a being or symbol. Eventually, he starts asking if whatever is there will talk to him. A loud sliding noise startles him. The investigation escalates when lights in the room starts flickering on and off without explanation. His voice becomes more distressed at this point, and he is clearly reaching the end of his nerve. However, he ventures into the room where the light came from to investigate, only to find nothing there, and that the electricity doesn't even work. Despite seemingly confirming this, he finds another flickering light in the next room. As Michael tries to peer around the corner, a section of the wall falls and almost lands on top of him. Clearly, something doesn't want him around. He makes a quick exit from the room, then returns to apologize and ask to talk. However, he doesn't stay long, seemingly compelled to another room. There, he finds a photograph left on a table. Could this be who he has been encountering? The creepiest encounter of the entire night is when Michael peers into a dark room, only to see a figure moved in the shadows. The figure resembles a shoulder, with its neck and head obscured. Something remains within these walls, and Michael is clearly convinced he has communicated with something. Hopefully the duo will return together and conduct another investigation in the future. What goes up must come down. Posted by V. Fieldson on TikTok, as Fieldson walks beside a house, capturing a bicycle lying in the middle of the sidewalk. He pulls the shot upright, catching the roof of the house in frame. Someone is up there watching him. The watcher appears to be filming him too. At least he seems to be holding something with a light on. He rushes from view, and darkness envelopes him. Of course, this is TikTok, so that's where the clip ends. However, as we know, what goes up must come down. After all, he's gotta come down from that rooftop eventually. A man in Indonesia goes exploring the most haunted places of his home country to unlock supernatural myths of a different official nature, hence the channel's name. Out here, the ghost world has formed communities deep in the rainforest. He knows this place well and senses one near.
Allahu Akbar.
Standing before him is an eerie apparition that gives me anxiety, like something has gone wrong. The paranormal exploration does not end with him running away. He has become strangely at ease around them, less terrified over time, or maybe okay with them all along.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu la ilaha illallah.
After a little more exploring, our adventurer finds a second spirit and does not come as near. He might be afraid, but I think he's simply respecting their space. I did some research, and this creepy video looks like a possibly real ghost sighting of a Pocong spirit, seen mostly in Indonesia and Malaysia. It's said that the spirit's appearance under the shroud depends on the current state of their physical body. In other words, if he were to look underneath, he would see how rotten they were, but he dares not do such a thing. These are his ancestors, and he might have wanted to show us that there are real ghost videos on the internet if you know where to look, and that a ghost haunting the woods doesn't automatically mean it's one of the scariest places in the world. It's a really good point, but this scary video's got me freaked out nonetheless. Two men go into an internet cafe early in the morning with a few pro tools and the worst of intentions. Hardly anyone is there, and even if the place were busy, it wouldn't matter because they've got their routine down to a science. They pick two seats midway down so as not to look obvious. One of them acts like they're going online, but what he's really doing is helping to cover the movements of his friend, who has already unscrewed the casing of the computer and is now working on the floor bolts that are holding it down. There's a wall on his side, so if you worked there, it would be like he was digging through a backpack or something. Something walks by them at 28 seconds and is too busy on their phone to notice what they're up to. They act like they are looking at something on the same screen as the entire uncased computer gets put into a large plastic bag. They put the empty computer case back to make it look like nothing is out of place. They can't just walk out of there with a big obvious computer-shaped plastic bag, so they take it into the bathroom and dismantle the computer for valuable spare parts and throw the rest in the trash. The clerk has no idea what they've done, not even glancing up as they briskly walk out with top-of-the-line video cards, RAM, and other hardware to sell. Clearly, this isn't their first time, but this time they were caught on camera. This creepy selfie photobomb is making my skin crawl. Posted on TikTok by WINIRGTA, this woman is taking a selfie in the mirror when something freaky enters the picture. A small toddler-sized figure toddles past behind the woman, but does not reappear on the other side of her. The figure moves fast contrast and looks to be a slightly grayish tinge. Is this just the woman's younger sibling making an unexpected cameo? Or does she have a supernatural elf on her hands? A YouTuber named D-Dog Vlogs has been uploading since mid-2016 and specializes in exploring haunted places that are about as scary as they come, with a preference for historic locations whenever possible. He has been known to pair up with the likes of Mo Sargi and others in an effort to push his paranormal investigations to greater lengths and solidify his place in the YouTube ghost hunting community. On January 20th of 2020, he heads to a single-story home that is rumored to hold secrets so terrible that no one in the community wanted to share any details aside from a basic address. Curious, he heads to the site with fellow ghost hunters, Tay and Carlo, to see for themselves what this house holds. The first thing they notice is a glowing yellow light that flickers oddly over a door that's bolted shut. It's one of the only working lights left in the house, and it's shining like a beacon to get their attention.
But look at that room. That's creepy.
But more on that in a moment. For now, watch how the camera goes out of focus like something or someone invisible is standing right in front of them. It happens again here at exactly 3 minutes, and ironically goes on until he's finished asking people to comment if they see anything.
Now, I don't know if these places are haunted or not, so comment down below if you guys see or hear anything. I'm not saying they're haunted, I'm just not sure.
After some more exploring, they return to this mysterious locked door and see marks where it had been repeatedly drilled shut with a padlock. Something incredibly strong must have been in here at one point, and the family must have been intent on keeping it contained. Yet when they open the door, they are surprised to find a colorful race car border above. This is a kid's room of all places. They suspect that a child was locked in here for long periods of time, and I think the evidence proves that much is true. Perhaps they were even kept here well into adulthood, might I add. Furthermore, they seem to think this section of the door was either struck or clawed out over time, possibly after an extended period of isolation, which would require immense strength. I think it could simply be termite damage, but you tell me. So I want to know why you think the child was locked in here. It could have been evil parents or behavioral problems. The extent to which they had to go in order to keep the child contained seems to indicate an extreme psychological state that would require them to be on alert at all times. Their child probably needed to be kept away from sharp objects and locked in at night so that they don't do something drastic to themselves or to their parents while they slept. On the contrary, maybe that's not the case at all, and the child had evil, disturbed parents who did this for no reason. D-Dog explores a different abandoned house 2 months later on March 28th, and this investigation gets so crazy that I need your help to figure out if it's real. Is this red paint, or is it what I think it is? I really hope not.
So much.
At 2 minutes and 10 seconds, it kind of looks like somebody got jabbed in the corner, stumbled a few steps forward to the center of the room, and then went to the doorway. Then they doubled back, still leaking, and probably crumpled in this corner where the trail ends, or maybe that's where they were put by someone else. Tiny red splotches leading upstairs gives me the impression that more than one person was here. This red substance has dried against the wall and hardly looks reassuring, and sadly in the corner of this upstairs room is more evidence. But creepiest of all, even more so than what's on the wall or on the floor, is what's in this small unassuming corner, or rather what happens when they go near. This is the only part of the video that becomes blurry, and for no reason at all. It's as if something is trying to get their attention, and perhaps figuring out for the first time that it has crossed onto the other side and can no longer communicate with the living. Now you're probably wondering where the homeowners were, and so was I, but with a basement flooded with solid ice, I think we both know the answer. Imagine being alone in your house when a toy starts speaking over and over again, like someone is rapidly pressing its button. That's exactly what happened one day to a YouTuber named Melinda Wolf Miller with her child's Mickey Mouse toy. She bravely took out her phone and started recording. The toy makes some low noises at first, but once she says something about it, it apparently becomes very aggressive and starts growling in response.
Something is in the toy box is possessed.
It almost sounds like the toy is saying somebody in between snarling. I don't think that the two toys on top of Mickey Mouse are heavy enough to activate the bottom, so I'm honestly not sure what's happening here. Jordan Powers sees something in the sky, and all his mom can do is get mad at him for it.
What are you looking at?
She doesn't see anything and thinks that he has lost his mind, but we can see them just fine. Mysterious lights, 5 of them all flying in a strange formation. Jordan describes these unexplained lights as silver in color, and months later still has no idea what they were. It happened in Kelowna, a city in the Canadian province of British Columbia. Somebody from Virginia says they've seen the same lights and describes them as hiding in the clouds. I'll admit this short 13-second video is not a lot to go on, but what little evidence there is does look unedited and quite bizarre. Hopefully I can find a longer video taken by somebody else on the same day to confirm this sighting is real. This place is super haunted, and YouTube team Paranormal My wants to test its energy. Watch to the right. And if that wasn't enough, the chair on which the doll sits is moving uncannily. It does this again and again. Until it can't take anymore and launches backward. This is some of the craziest, most jarring paranormal activity I've ever seen. The movements of these objects are so rapid fire, they look unreal. This abandoned prison castle was built in 1865 and was used to house all types of scary people. It was a transitory prison before sending prisoners to hard labor or exile. Now it apparently houses actual ghosts. Published by Toppy in November of 2021, these paranormal investigators went to visit the dark and mysterious place. Here is what they found. Outside, they walk around the wall where lives were ended. Then they head inside. The investigator notes that they say they've heard some coughing. Inside the cells, they listen but hear nothing.
Слышат кашель.
They come across strange windows, perhaps built for ventilation, lockable slots, likely to deliver food to the inmates, and a shower room.
Им дверь открыли.
In one hallway, they find this figure, posed like a statue. We aren't sure what its story is, but it towers over the place like it's floating. At one point, a strange, unexplained noise is recorded as they're talking, and another sound is heard, like blowing on metal. They also hear a door bang at a distance. They say they feel like they're not alone here. Perhaps they aren't, but is their company alive or paranormal? A YouTuber named BatBatBox and his friend are all geared up and ready to do some serious exploring down a drainage tunnel that runs deep beneath the streets in Norway. Recent rains raise the water up to their knees, and a storm surge could leave them over their heads in a moment's notice. Many small side passages tempt them, but the rising water makes it too risky. They soon reach an impasse in the form of a fallen tree that quickly brings their exploration to a close. But just as the two friends are having a quick conversation about what to do next, a third party joins in. Something calls from the other side of the clogged pipe, a weird noise in their words, but definitely a scared human voice in my opinion. It doesn't make any other noise or ask for help, and when they try to find the source, it's gone. The tunnel is empty except for them, or so they think. All they find is this weird, large glove with sharpened fingers left behind, an iron claw in their words, like something a madman would wear. And when the passage they were looking down earlier begins to churn out a murky gray substance, they get out of there quick before anything else gets a chance to appear. That's a lot of unexplained events to have happen in one tunnel. Mysteries I don't think they were ready to solve. Maybe they heard someone's last moments before being taken away down that small passage, and whatever was down there was probably coming for them next. There's a phantom haunting this women's bathroom, and she doesn't like being disturbed. Posted to the r/paranormal encounter subreddit by Kiraxis. This entity was captured in a women's bathroom in Colombia. The footage shows an empty building at night. Something can be heard causing a disturbance in the bathroom.
Estoy nuevamente aquí, en la puerta del baño.
The security guard looks up and down both hallways. He then approaches the bathroom where he finds that the noise is the faucet shutting on and off.
Se prenden las luces. ¿Está jugando con la llave? ¿Ah?
At first, you think that could easily be explained away by some technical malfunction, but then one of the air dryers is triggered too.
Jugando con la llave.
After a moment, a door from one of the bathroom stalls slams shut, and that's the last straw for the security guard.
Necesito otra prueba. Ay, marica.
He flees the scene. Could this be the real-life version of the fictional Moaning Myrtle? Whoever it is, they sure chose a strange place in which to spend eternity. Derek Desso Daly finds himself in a darkened cemetery on a 24-hour challenge with some friends. There's only some basic snacks and a small flashlight to split between the three of them, but they feel confident nothing serious will happen. Derek barely gets into the cemetery, and already he hears strange sounds that I don't think can easily be faked.
I know that I don't see anything past this road. Oh, what's that sound? Hey man, there's somebody walking right there, bro. Where?
Derek claims to see someone off in the distance, though I personally don't see anything. Still, he turns off his flashlight and quietly walks away to avoid detection. Other than that, nothing else happens until around 3 a.m., at which point the strange sounds return, even louder this time.
Yeah, we have a Ouija board and we have a...
They start playing with the homemade Ouija board and think they see something move in the trees. Then they think they hear footsteps. It's hard to say if they are just being paranoid or really experiencing something paranormal, since nothing special is caught on camera. Later though, when they begin chanting a spell to speak with any nearby spirits, I can definitely hear what they are talking about. Eventually, one of them gets separated from the group and is covered in red when he returns. He claims to have fallen, but something about his story sounds off.
John, what happened? Something fell.
Something falling on its own seems quite unlikely, making the claim of paranormal activity even more plausible. Do you think you could stick it out in an abandoned former asylum, and what if you were being watched when you got there? Published to YouTube by This Is Dan Bell in September of 2015. This Place of Nightmares is a hauntingly beautiful house of horrors. The stone building is hidden in an overgrown woods, and naturally Dan enters the basement first, wallpaper chipping from the wall. As he explores, Dan explains that he kept hearing noises throughout his exploration, which sounded like a person. He thinks a former patient returned to this building and was living there. Well, as a viewer, you're likely distracted by all the intricate details of this building, including its decorative tiles and molding, its stained glass sunroof and one stairwell, its fireplaces and chandeliers. You might miss this figure in the doorway. Dan himself only noticed when safely back home. Watching the video back, the point in question occurs at around 7 minutes 5 seconds when he's turning a corner around a stairwell. There's an open door in a hallway beyond with light shining against the door, and a shadow is plainly visible. It moves as Dan turns to head up the stairs. Plenty of other strange things occurred during this visit, including Dan's battery popping and what looked like red stains found on the tile floor in an upstairs room. That's probably the point where you should get the heck out of an abandoned building. I'm just glad Dan and his team made it out. Dom Soto is making a vlog in his bedroom when an urgent knocking sends him rushing to the front door. Dom Soto actually opens the door for this masked stranger, which automatically makes me think this video could be scripted, because I think most people would have kept it locked. Then again, maybe he didn't think this was anything serious at the time, or maybe he couldn't understand what the person was trying to say through their mask. Whatever the case may be, they have a short and tense exchange.
Let me in.
No,
I'm your biggest fan.
Get off my property, dude.
Eventually, Dom Soto convinces his biggest fan to leave, only to have him unexpectedly return moments later at the window. By this point, it's obvious that Dom Soto is not going to get rid of this intruder without help from the police, so he turns off the video and goes to call them. If this is real, then no update has been given on the situation for well over a year. YouTuber Johnny Paranormal 74 writes that they caught this on Alonzo's live earlier this evening. The live stream was captured in an empty mausoleum in Mexico. Let's take a look.
¿Escuchas? ¿En qué parte estás? No, ¿lo viste, lo viste?
Se cerró toda. Pensé que iba a tronar.
Se cerró la puerta. ¿Hay alguien ahí? Se cerró la puerta, Clary.
When he looks inside, you can see there's nobody there.
A ver qué es lo que hay adentro. La puerta está cerrada, miren. La puerta está cerrada. Bien nomás. Voy a abrir más.
Do you see what I see? If not, you're about to hear it.
Dime, estás aquí. Mira, mira, otra vez. Otra vez, ¿lo viste? Alguien está dentro, Clary.
Did you hear that? I'm sure you did, because as I see it, this is one of the most scary videos you'll ever see. YouTuber Chad Miller found a secret room in the attic of his house. You don't see this every day, he writes. You certainly don't. It looks like Chad is just moving into a new house, and now the fun begins. It's time to explore it. Inside a closet, he finds a ladder-like stairwell leading into a secret hidden room. As he crawls in, you find that it doesn't look like any old attic, unfinished with cobwebs and stacked with unruly odds and ends. Instead, the attic looks well finished with wooden walls, light fixtures, and a nice clean space. It's like a sauna but air-conditioned, Chad says. It does in fact look like a sauna. The room is rather large, with all wooden walls and even a couple of wooden benches. What was this super secret room used for? We can only guess. All I know is that I wouldn't mind finding this secret room in my new home. A YouTuber named Nosy is poking around an old abandoned home that is in rough shape. The place is crumbling on all sides and covered in debris. Some sections look like they could collapse at any minute, so he doesn't go too far inside. It's the middle of the day though, with plenty of natural light, so Nosy creeps around the outskirts and even dares to check out a few rooms for a better look. He's having a look through one of the more secure looking rooms on the bottom floor when apparently something notices his presence and starts rushing his way. Nosy wisely retreats out to the nearest exit and cuts his adventuring short for the day. The upstairs was not safe for him to explore. so it's doubtful that someone would live up there, though still possible, I suppose. Either way, the footsteps were clearly human and not from an animal, and Nosy was clearly all by himself throughout this video. Therefore, the only other explanation I can come up with, besides a homeless person, is an actual ghost. Whatever it is, Nosy says that he will go back to the house and solve the mystery once and for all. So be sure to check on his channel to see if he ever does. I hope he stays safe and I wish him the best of luck. Man from Indonesia seeks to stop a wicked ghost from haunting the forest. For a while, it doesn't look like much is going to happen, but then something bizarre comes flailing at him from the forest. The odd figure stays low to the ground and does not move or sound like a normal person at all, making animal noises all the while. I'm not sure if this is a possessed man running wild in the jungle or just someone acting like a ghost, so let me know what you think this is. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.